Oh boy, we had a week of college basketball, did we not?
We sure did, Ryan.
Welcome back. Oh, we're in the studio.
In the studio.
Yeah, anyone listening on Spotify or wherever, we're in the studio, back in the studio today.
We're back.
This feels like, genuinely, I thought about it watching the games last night and Friday night, this whole week of college basketball. With the Super Bowl happening today, as of recording this, we're recording right before the Super Bowl, which we are actively rooting against the Patriots because we're Jets fans. And by the way, my pick for Super Bowl MVP, Tyler Lockett. Thoughts?
You never know.
You know he's one of my favorite players ever.
Well, there's one issue, not on the Seahawks.
Yeah, but it's all about the vibes.
Yeah,
anyways, pre-Super Bowl, but with the Super Bowl happening this week, or this weekend, and people listening to this, it'll be behind them, this has been maybe the best weekend in college basketball all season long, and it just feels like perfect timing for when the entire country of sports fans turn to college basketball, just because I think the season has been one of the best seasons in recent memory and in a long time that I can remember, but it just felt perfect that this Saturday of games and Friday, this weekend, were unbelievably incredible, leading into everyone coming over to college basketball.
Yeah, there are only a handful of games and teams that can have the reaction of the entire country, and we'll get to it, but oh boy, did we get that last night.
I'll do it real fast. Like, I put together a list on Twitter this morning because I was getting my thoughts out. UNC Duke, the best rivalry in the sport and one in all of sports, maybe, at its absolute finest. St. John's and UConn at MSG, the underdog winning also, was absolutely electric. We'll talk about that too. You have arguably the best freshman class ever. Miami, Ohio is 24-0. St. Louis is a mid-major wagon. The Big Ten has 5 teams in the top 12. The Big 12 has 5 teams in the top 13.
Arizona's still undefeated.
Yep. The sport has drama between, like, Jeremy Fears, Grayson Allen comp, and he's an amazing player, whatever. It also has drama with eligibility stuff going on, which I don't love, but it's still drama like a reality show. There are also 15 teams in the country with 3 or less losses right now, and it's February. Like, this truly has been one of the best seasons in college basketball that I can remember.
Sounds like we're welcoming new people. Welcome to college basketball, everybody.
Yeah, if there are new listeners, you just got basically a full rundown of the season so far.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Football's over, and welcome to college basketball.
And congratulations to Tyler Lockett also.
on his Super Bowl MVP.
And Sam Darnold.
And
Next-Jet.
Yeah, well, that's,
whatever. I'm rooting for him.
Same.
We might look stupid when this airs. We will get into all that stuff that I just mentioned, the biggest rivalry games, a lot of things going on, panic scale, etc. But first, let's get into news and notes. All right, news and notes. We have a packed news and notes today. First off, I'm coming to Ames.
Woo!
Again, Iowa State's jersey. It's behind me over here.
He wanted a clone cone so bad, he's
bad.
literally traveling to Iowa to get
I'm
one.
coming again. Jess, my wife, is coming with me. She came with me last year. Yeah, I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, but we did have a very good time. We romanticized it, and we're going on Valentine's Day. What's better than being in Ames, Iowa?
What's more romantic than T.J. Hotzelberger on Valentine's Day?
Literally. Kansas on Saturday, Audi Crooks and the women on Sunday, Houston at Iowa State on Monday night.
Game?
Hell yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
You just got cooked by Audi Crooks. You ever heard that song?
I have not.
Well, you got to get your knowledge up in that one. I'm going to go to Ames. I'm going to be there. Great weekend. I'm very excited. That's the first announcement. Second announcement, let's start off with your Maryland Terrapins. By the way, not my Terps. Hashtag not my Terps.
Well,
they are actively recruiting Kyrie Walker, 25-year-old Kyrie Walker from the high school class of 2020 to come to school for next season. He will turn, say he's on Maryland, he will turn 26 as a realistic freshman or first-year college basketball player when they're at Players Era, if he's on the team.
Very strange. I will say, you need to bring the same energy knowing the other teams that are recruiting him too.
I will be honest with you. You gave me a list.
He hasn't said a visit yet, I know.
There's no public list anywhere except for Maryland.
Okay.
So right now, Maryland, hashtag not my team.
I think Buzz is just looking for something right now.
He's not going to play this year.
I know. Well, yeah, obviously not.
Yeah, it's a waste of time anyway.
That's my point.
We'll see what happens. I'm not going to say I'm going to hate watch wherever Kyrie Walker plays. I just don't think he's worth the recruitment, and I don't think that teams should be ethically recruiting him.
I don't disagree with you. I wish we weren't.
Speaking of teams who should not be ethically recruiting players, Amari Bailey.
Yeah, this one's crazy.
Set up a visit with GCU. So Amari Bailey, who was a very, very, very high-level college guard at UCLA a few years ago, goes to the NBA. He gets drafted. He plays 10 games in the NBA. He's been a good G League player. He might come to the Mountain West for next season when the Mountain West will be a true mid-major league. It will have none of the good teams.
Slopes up, baby.
I said when Amari Bailey said he was trying to get back into college basketball, and usually I try to stand a little bit neutral. I understand, I know coaches and programs and whatever. I literally went up publicly and I said, I'll say it. Anyone who recruits Amari Bailey, shame on them. And who do you know? It's another person in the Drew family. Scott Drew got James Najee. Bryce Drew either said, hey, how do I get an NBA player? Or he said, you know what? I'm going to one-up you.
Look, there's one thing that you and I know specifically, but that I think a lot of people close to college athletics know, which is that GCU is not hurting for athletic dollars or a way to try to become more relevant in athletics because they've done a good job. I'm not surprised by this. Now, this is, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ryan, this is a level up from the Kyrie stuff. This is hate watch worthy.
Absolutely. Kyrie Walker never played in the NBA, never played in college. There's a little bit more of a case, but there's got to be an age limit, basically.
Sure, yeah, no argument.
But the Amari Bailey stuff, yes, he's still technically on his 5-year clock, but he, again, it's the same thing as Charles Bediako, except he played in the NBA for 10 games.
He literally played in the NBA.
It's Bediako, but worse. And also, we'll get into Bediako in a second, too, because it's a good role. I do want to say on Amari Bailey, is GCU the best option? Are you really just trying to get a bag and cook mid-major players? Are you serious?
I think that it's very possible that nobody else is going after him because of everything.
Maybe. And because it might be a waste of your time also. They might say he might get deemed ineligible, and it's going to be a full offseason the NCAA is going to have to make sure he can't play.
But think about that. Between Kyrie Walker and Bediako and a lot of these other guys, the international guys in Illinois and this and that, teams have not been shy to get involved. All of a sudden, teams are a little shy to get involved.
And coaches are speaking out. They spoke out against Scott Drew. Tom Izzo was like, I know Scott. I'm going to call him after this. And I was like, yeah, call him. And they weren't going to absolutely fry them. Yeah. Although, except for the NATO situation, which again, Bediako is another. We'll get into it. We'll do it right now, might as well. Charles Bediako played in the game against Auburn this week. He's been playing relatively well, by the way. He's no shit. He's a good player. Yeah. He was always going to be decent. He had his TRO was up. He had I forget all the terminology. He had another court hearing to basically say it's the NCAA versus Charles Bediako. Is he going to be eligible to play the rest of the season? They're in the Tuscaloosa court. Crazy. They already had one judge recuse himself because he's a donor to the Alabama athletics program, which is unbelievable that he thought he could get around that in the first place. And now on Friday, I think it was, the day before the game, they put in their final cases. Tuscaloosa County Judge and County Court is basically working through it to come to a decision, essentially.
And that will happen before the next game, correct?
It literally might not happen until April if they don't want it to. It won't be that long. It happened. They put their final arguments in on Friday. Everyone's like, okay, what's the result? It doesn't just take a second.
It doesn't work like that.
And also, they're playing Auburn the next day. He's going to play the next day.
Yeah, we knew that.
So he was always going to play on Saturday. My guess is that this episode comes out Monday. People might be listening to this on Tuesday or Wednesday, and he might have been deemed ineligible or eligible already. Yeah. I think that my gut says they're going to deem him ineligible.
I think so too. I saw a quote from, I don't know if it was from his lawyer or his camp or something like that. And one of the reasons that they had said to the court that they believe he has the right to play here is something academic related. And the rebuttal back was he has been in school for 3 weeks.
He does not care.
Yeah,
he does not care about academics. With all due respect, Charles.
Yeah, no.
Chuck, big Chuck. We'll see what happens with Bediako. It's another eligibility case, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But this is a big opportunity for the NCAA to get a win on the home front here.
Yeah, but it's not even their win at this point. But yes,
it's a win.
It's a win for them if
it's a win
if
the
the state
not lose.
of Alabama decides
to deem Charles Bediako ineligible. Okay. Exactly. All right. Michigan State injury, Divine Ugochukwu. We haven't. That was in the middle of the week. Ruled out for the entire season. They did beat Illinois, which we'll talk about that later in the episode. But that is not good for them, especially their offensive upside. The second half of the season, or midway through the season, he really came on as another playmaking and point guard option and another dynamic offensive weapon. So that is not nice for Michigan State. Two conference situation newses. That's not a word.
News now.
Utah Valley.
Oh, man.
So Utah Valley is going to the Big West. Is that correct next year?
Yes, next
They're leaving
season.
the WAC. The WAC, by the way, right now has 7 teams in it. Utah Valley is going to the Big West. Apparently, this past week, the WAC said you did not pay your, I think it was $1 million exit fee. So we are not going to allow you to play any postseason tournament, no NCAA tournament. We control that over you. And then they said Utah Valley games will no longer be available to watch anywhere. No streaming, no TV, nothing. So now you have a 17 conference with Utah Valley as one of the 3 contenders.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they won by like 30 this weekend too.
They won by a lot.
Against UT Arlington. Or one of the other contenders.
They are tied for first place with our guys, Cal Baptist.
Cal Baptist. And Utah Valley is not currently eligible to play in postseason games. So you have a 6-team conference with 3 teams at the top. One of them is not contending for a bid.
Pardon me, Ryan. That's whack.
Oh, I was like, pardon you.
That's whack.
That's pretty good. Not going to lie to you.
That's whack. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's funny because like the WAC's not going to exist next year because it's turning into the United Conference.
The United Athletic Conference.
The UAC.
The UAC.
So this is literally just like they're just being petty for no reason. And not that I blame them because
the streaming thing is bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm trying to watch these games.
The pulling the games is ridiculous because not only are they pulling Utah Valley games, they're pulling the teams they're playing.
They should just say Utah Valley will be streamed, but we are stealing all the funds they get from it, or we'll give it to the other team or something like that. I don't know, whatever.
I really hope that they don't win the conference tournament. Actually, are they not eligible to play in it?
They're not going to let them play in it.
No, yeah, they can't play in it. You're right.
So it'll be a 6-team conference. That's crazy.
I love it.
And whoever wins that league, definitely winning a tournament game for no reason.
I've been saying this for weeks.
Whoever 15, 14 seed.
Whoever comes out of the WAC is, if they don't win a game, going to be a pain in the ass to play against. They're good.
Yeah, We'll
anyway,
other conference news: the MAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, not MACtion with Akron and Miami.
Yes,
the MAC is changing its name,
but we don't know what to yet.
I actually have some sources.
You do? Okay.
Apparently.
Well, selfishly, the fact that I don't have to say MAC or MAC again, like, makes me happy. So I'm cool.
Did you see some of the suggestions online?
Yeah.
One of the suggestions was the MMAAACC.
Yeah, MAC.
I forget the exact full acronym.
I think my favorite one was like the somewhere around Westchester County Conference or something like that.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I know.
Somewhere around the Sauk.
There already is a SWAC.
Sauk.
Yeah.
Sauk.
I don't know. You don't have to leak your sources, but like.
I'm not going to tell my source. I'll tell you what they're going to name it.
Yeah, tell me.
And everyone knows it.
Oh, okay.
They're just going to call it the Metro, which is fire.
Oh, that's way better. The Metro Conference.
That's gas.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, just the Metro.
Yeah, good.
But that's gas.
The MAC is ridiculous.
It's really bad.
Return of the MAC.
It's just called the MAC.
It's dumb.
Whatever. MAC changing its name. And that's going to do it for news and notes for us today.
Okay.
This week's Home Court Advantage brought to you by none other than Home Field Apparel, the best college apparel in the world. We go to MSG. I actually was at MSG for this.
Yes.
So I was feeling it. St. John's versus UConn. UConn says it's store south. St. John's want to protect their home ground. There's a lot of animosity between the fan bases. There were multiple fights and kickouts in the arena. I noticed, and I heard even more that I didn't see. I've been to a lot of games at Madison Square Garden. I've been to Knicks games. I've been to St. John's games. I've been to neutral site games, NCAA tournament. I've been to the Elite Eight there. I have never personally been in that building for a game with this type of environment. These Johnny's crowds and fans were unfreaking believable. They were so awesome, and I expected it to be more UConn heavy. But apparently this is common, the entire lower bowl was St. John's, and then half the upper bowl was UConn because it's a lot of ticket exclusivity also and season tickets and stuff like that. But St. John's fans absolutely showed out. It was rocking from start to finish. When it looked like UConn was going to take control of the game, one bucket one way and then a stop the other way, the Johnny's fans, MSG was going crazy. It was one of those classic Big East MSG field games that you'll remember for a long time. It legitimately the best game I've ever seen in MSG.
Yeah, the crowd was great on TV too, and you and I spoke. Yeah, I think at this point it's just an expectation that the UConn fans are going to show up and be loud at the Garden, and they always are. Credit to them.
They were still good in this game too.
And credit to them, they are. But it was a very obviously very, 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 very pro St. John's crowd, which again it should be, but it isn't all the time. And
I was at the Alabama game earlier in the year, and people said oh, this is one of the better environments. It was not good.
Yeah,
it was not good at all. They lost the game, but it was a close game back and forth. Again, it was November, early in the season, but still.
And look, the St. John's fans are a little different. They're a little bit more old school, a little bit more blue collar. It's just a little different.
You'd be on the average age to younger side there.
I think
no offense.
Yeah,
Unk. With all due respect.
Waiting for that.
No, just being honest though, because you go to any other college campuses. Again, this is in MSG in New York City, so I understand why that happens. But you go to any other school in Midwest, whatever college campuses, you have young psychotic fans.
Yeah.
Where it's blue collar and it's gritty, but there's a corporate feel to it for sure.
It was a great crowd. We'll talk more about the game. Don't look now, Ryan. Here come the Johnnies.
Love that segue from you, by the way. That was smooth and unplanned. And how about I segue into talking about St. John's versus UConn?
Wasn't as unplanned.
The actual game itself,
Wasn't
though.
as unplanned as you think.
The actual game itself.
Yeah.
You've been working on that for a while, it sounds like.
I mean, not that long.
Yeah, we'll get into a bunch of games that happened this weekend and this week. Duke, Carolina, St. John's, UConn. We'll talk about Villanova in the Big East. We'll talk about the ACC teams in NC State and Clemson and UVA. We'll talk about Michigan State and Jeremy Fears, and then we will do our segments. We'll be out of here. That work for you, brother?
Let's go.
St. John's, UConn. I was at the game. It felt like that game UConn was going to pull away. In the first half, I'm like, okay, UConn's the better team. They are the better team. I still will say that for sure. Well, maybe not for sure, but they're still the better team. They're more disciplined. They were executing at a higher level. St. John's was a little erratic, but it as cliche and as like your Uncle Joey coaching your rec basketball team as it sounds, they legitimately just wanted it more.
Yeah.
And they were gritty. They worked hard. Dylan Darling, who you notoriously shit-talked in players era because he was bad. He was very bad. And he lost his starting role, and he's been in and out of different rotations. But
he was great.
Dylan Darling hit a massive three at the end. He dove on the floor middle of the second half for a huge steal and gave a dime off the floor.
Yep.
Dylan Mitchell was absolutely amazing. The one putback he had, the athletic putback on his left, was ridiculous. Zuby was an absolute monster. He had 20, 11, and 7 or something like that. I forget exactly what it was.
21, 10, and 7. It was unstoppable.
He was amazing. That was like a Zuby Ejiofor legacy game.
Yeah.
They legitimately... that's last year, St. John's bully ball. It was the best style for them to get back into the limelight. This game was very similar feel of this is New York City basketball. This is exactly what it is. It sounds so non-analysis based because you know how analytical and stuff I am, but at some point you have to just watch and appreciate and say vibes are high.
Yeah,
vibes are high.
And by the way, I think that's why Dylan Darling, when they're playing well, works because you're right. He wasn't good at players era, and he made a lot of mistakes, and he didn't even look like he belonged on the court.
No.
But he's scrappy. He does the little things. He didn't turn the ball over in 20-something minutes played.
Crazy.
He took care of the ball. He did every single thing you need him to. They do not win that game without him. They simply do not.
Absolutely not. West Side Story.
Yeah. I think he looks like. I think he just looks like one of the outsiders or
I think West Side Story is a great nickname too.
Yeah.
I said to someone that I was with there in the garden, they were like, "Yeah, he does kind of look like that.
Good.
Isn't he from California or something?"
Shout out me. Yeah. I think he looks like he's from Queens. So I know he's not. He's a West Coast kid, but
we're gonna call him West Side Story from now on out.
I just think he's great. And Zuby was unstoppable. They couldn't stop.
I love Zuby. He's the best.
But that's what they need. If they are going to be a force and be dangerous in March, that is what they need.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit about the same worries as last year going into the tournament, where their style is not March friendly.
Yeah.
They're gonna play teams that force them to shoot the ball more or get into track races a little bit, and they're gonna be uncomfortable.
I mean, they shot 26% against UConn from 3 and still won.
And what happens when they play? There's a lot of teams that are prioritizing size in Michigan, Arizona, Florida, Illinois. Those teams are going to be a problem for them because they're going to match up well on their size, and they're going to obliterate them on the other end of the floor.
Now they won't be a 2 seed this year.
So right now they're projected to be a 6 seed, probably a 5. I'd say after the weekend is my guess.
Yeah.
I don't love that still because they're going to have to play a really good mid-major and then a 4 and then a 1.
Right. Yeah. You're right. The size of the teams that are shaping up to be 1s. The Duke, Michigan, Arizona, they're going to be.
But get to the Sweet 16. They didn't get there last year.
Yeah.
I think that's all you got to worry about for now, obviously. It's they've had a rocky year, especially to start the season.
Not anymore.
I feel very similarly about this team as I did last year. Last year, people were picking them as a dark horse title team. If they were a 2 seed last year and they were a strong 2 seed, they could be a 5 or 6 seed. I feel very similar about them as I did last year, which, again, is okay. I think it's fine. But awesome game, a lot of fun. They needed that win also. Yeah. They've been red hot, too.
They've won 9 straight, and their next 4 against Xavier, Providence, Marquette, Creighton before they go to UConn again, which you will be at.
That's the benefit of the Big East also. Yeah. Of there are games, they might lose a game. It's a trap games,
sure.
Right? But if you take care of business, you just rake wins. Rake them.
They very, very realistically could be 16-1 in the Big Ten Big Ten,
East.
excuse me. Big East. Going.
Apparently last week you
No, it was you. You said Big Ten instead of Big 12. I didn't stop you. I actually said Big 10 over you because you said Big 12 over you because you said it wrong.
Shit.
Yeah,
All right, my bad.
So that's you.
I thought it was you.
No, it was you.
Shit.
They realistically could be 16-1 or 15-1 heading to Hartford, I believe, to play.
They're playing at Hartford that
UConn.
game, which by the way I found out is 45 minutes from Stores, the campus.
That's a whole thing.
What is that about? That's crazy far.
There's nothing. Stores is in the middle of nowhere.
I'm trying to go to Gamble for this game.
Yeah,
they should have
be-
this in Gamble, and
I
they should have
know.
played in Carter Seca the other night.
Yeah,
That'd be funny.
That'd be cool. Yeah, but the Garden is the best.
Let's talk about UConn. I'll put them on the panic meter. I don't think I did. Actually, no, they're not on the panic
I'm
meter
not worried
today.
about them.
Not at all. Not one bit.
Not really. I
Okay.
mean, I would have liked more bench production.
I don't think their offense. I haven't thought their offense has been really good enough because, like, their offense this year has been not up to their standard. Even last year's team. Last year they were offensive, not defensive, and the 2 years before that when they won titles, they were both obviously.
Yep.
This year they flip flopped a little bit. They're a much better defensive team than they are offensively, and the offense is holding them back a little bit. My biggest problem with the offense for UConn, my worry for them is that they can't stretch leads into big leads,
Yeah.
and then they can't close out games early on. Look at games like
BYU.
the BYU game is a great example. This game, they were up by, I think, 9 or 10 in the first half or
Yeah.
early in the second half is a great example. They went to overtime with Providence. I think it was the Seton Hall game. They almost blew it at the end, and then Seton Hall had one made three the entire game. Like, they can't stretch out good leads into big leads and close out games before the last 2 or 3 minutes of a game, and that worries me a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to play maybe a good 8 or 9 seed if they're a 1 seed, or if they're a 2, they play a really strong 7, and then they're going to the tournament is going to be a struggle. They're not going to be able to do it time and time again. Also, this game they had I think 15 turnovers or maybe more. I did some research. In the last 4 seasons, UConn is 9-7 when they turn it over 15 times or more versus high major teams. And obviously, UConn has won a lot more than just above 500 games.
7 losses is probably like half of that.
The last 4 years
Yeah.
is last year's quote-unquote down year, this year, and then 2 years of national championships.
Yeah.
So this year, it was the BYU game when
Yeah.
they have more than 15 turnovers. They almost blew that game in TD Garden. The St. John's game, obviously this one. Last year, they did it 3 times. 2 of them were versus St. John's. Like, put it all together, that's my concerns with UConn. I think they're awesome. People have been on us, like we're not talking about them enough. They've been very underwhelmingly great for most of the year, but they have cut it way too close, way too many times, and it caught up to them this game.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I said this before. They're not deep. They basically play 5 guys. 5 guys score. They're a really good 5, really good,
Very.
and they're very well coached, and they've been there before. So I'm not too concerned about them. I do kind of agree with you. Like, if they get into some sort of like back and forth pace race, they're going to be in trouble.
And my real issue is that they can't do that in back-to-back
Yeah.
games, and that's
Yeah,
what they need to win a national championship or get to a Final Four.
Probably.
That's my worry with them. So I do want to shout out Silas Demery, by the way. He had a lot of
so-
turnover. He had a shit ton of turnovers.
He's
People
so
were on him.
good.
He is amazing.
Okay, so I am.
so good.
You know this about me, but to the people listening, I'm not an NBA guy. So this is I'm asking you this question. Actually, I assume a pro.
He could be. He won't be this year. So
Okay.
think about. I keep comparing him to Tristan Newton.
Yeah.
When Tristan Newton first got to UConn from ECU, they won the national championship. He was a really important piece and a good piece for them as like the pace setter, a good defender, and he could have every now and then a big game or two. That team was also a lot better than this team is, I think, that 2023, 2024 team. But Tristan Newton's second year, he was a first-team All-American.
You're not going out on a limb with that, by the way. That team was.
Yeah, but they were a 4 seed. They had a huge
Sure.
slog, and like this team is going to get a better seed than that team did.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
have a better regular
You're not
season.
wrong about that.
But Tristan Newton's second year, he was a first-team All-American, led them to the national championship. I think that's the vision for Silas Demery. Hey, there's no way that when they recruited him, they said, "Look at what we did with Tristan Newton. And he
Yeah.
came from ECU. You came from Georgia. You're a real dog. We know that." So I think that's the vision with him.
He's
I
been
think
great.
next year he'll be even better if he stays around. So we'll see. But that is St. John's, UConn. What about the rest of the Big East, actually? Because Villanova fans have been on us a little bit, on me. Right now, there are only 3 projected teams to get into the NCAA tournament. That's UConn, St. John's, and Villanova, who are all pretty safely in. And then it's like Seton Hall has basically ruined all their chances. I know how you feel. And then everyone else is not going to get in.
I saw the Seton Hall thing coming from a mile away. We actually went. We said we were at the Villanova
December
Seton Hall
23rd.
game in December. I was like, Ryan, this Seton Hall team
They were atrocious.
is
that
not
game.
it. And what we talked about then for Villanova was how good the guards were.
Yeah. Caden Lewis.
Right,
Bryce
which is
Lindsey.
funny because Bryce Lindsey the other night had no points.
Caden Lewis had like 26
He's-
and 9 or something.
So
he's amazing.
And I think that I do think Villanova is they're guard led. They have a guy down low who picks up the scraps.
Dude, that's our boy.
It's a double every
Duke
game.
Brennan.
Every game.
He's been so good.
He's been great.
Double Duke.
Every game.
Whoa.
Double Duke.
And West Side Story. We got nicknames out the wazoo here.
So I don't think Villanova's. There's a drop off after it's UConn, St. John's drop off, Villanova drop off a cliff.
Yeah. Villanova's been good. I have not talked about them enough because they've been.
You've been more hesitant on them than I have.
There have been so
Which,
many.
by the way, says something.
Yeah, Willard. There have just been too many games where I've been super underwhelmed about them. Like the UConn game, they came back and they somehow got to overtime. I was just like, I don't know how they got to overtime, and then they lost by like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
The Creighton loss earlier in the year and the Marquette win, I think they were back to back. And even the Seton Hall game, I was like, these teams, this team is not moving the needle for me.
Yeah.
But they're good. They're a solid team. They don't go deep at all. I like the guards. I think size could be a huge problem if a team has a lot of size.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the story for a lot of teams that don't have the size or rely too much on it.
And they're not running the offense through Duke. He's kind of like picking up the scraps, grabbing a lot of rebounds,
The garbage
putting the ball
man.
back up. Yeah, but he's good at it.
Yeah, Duke's our guy. He's good. He's been great.
He's our yeah. They've been,
been
so
fantastic.
I think they're good. Look, they're not gonna win a title. Like they're not. This is not a Final Four Villanova team.
No, it's obviously not.
But they can
I like the building blocks a lot.
they could win a game or
I like
two.
the building blocks for next
Yeah,
year. For
Caden's
sure.
amazing.
If he's around, I think I would love to see him stay another year and have like a really good
Do you think he
Villanova
can go?
team. The class is so good that I think that on top of hopefully some financial investment could make him stay around.
I mean, I don't think they are hurting for basketball investment at Villanova.
Beats me.
Isn't
me.
that why someone took the job anyway?
So the Big East, yeah, sure. The Big East is if Jay Wright came offering you a job, also you take it.
But he didn't.
Jay Wright, not at you, Kevin Willard.
Shout out if you want Jay Wright.
Shout out Jay Wright.
I'm available.
For what? What would you do for Jay
I
Wright?
don't know. Style his hair. He's got great hair.
He's got great hair. What about his suits though? I wouldn't trust you with that.
I wouldn't trust me with that either.
Or the hair. No, with all due
No,
respect.
me neither. No. But, by the way, I see the balding comments.
Yeah.
For those of you, I know. I'm not dumb.
You should see our dad.
Yeah. we don't have a chance.
I got hair left. I'm younger.
You're
so.
young. I don't have a snowball's chance in hell. I know the hair's going.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys can't even see the top. That's the worst part.
On the Big East, long term, are you worried about the conference?
Long term, I'm worried about conference realignment with
Like
the
poaching
Big East.
UConn or something?
I'm worried about these teams getting left out in the dust. Like, so I mean, in that sense, yes, but from a basketball strictly perspective, not really. I'm not that worried. You seem more concerned.
They have been struggling to get teams in the tournament for multiple years in a row now.
Yeah.
In the NIL era, without football, it is very, very, very challenging for them to keep up. Leagues like the ACC have certain upside places where they're starting to figure it out a little more. It still feels like the middle of the Big East is not figuring it out. There are a lot of new coaches, and there are going to be a couple of schools like Providence and Butler that reset with new coaches in the next year or two.
Yeah,
but I still think that's an issue. Do you feel differently about my takes on merging with the A10 and having promotion relegation?
It's not going to happen, but it'd be a lot of fun. The other problem is like you talked about two teams that are probably going to have new coaches. What about Cooley? What about Shaka? Like they're on the hot seat next year.
Yeah, well, someone actually asked me about Marquette and Shaka Smart. Is he on the hot seat now? I said no. Next year is his firm hot seat year. Don't get in the tournament next year. You're out. You're gone. Yeah, it's that simple.
What about Cooley?
Yeah, I mean they're wasting their time.
They've been a mess.
They're wasting their time, I think, in my opinion. But
shout out Chris Holtman.
Chris Holtman's got it down at the ball. But
shout out Chris Holtman.
But think about this: UConn, St. John's, Villanova, St. Louis with Josh Schertz,
He's not staying.
VCU, Dayton, likely with a new coach. And then you have some teams in and out of being good every year, like George Mason and whatever.
Only conference.
I mean, it's perfect. There's no football in the A10. It's a perfect merger. The
UConn, by the way, UConn is the problem because they are all of a sudden investing in football very differently.
I know. Well, maybe they get poached. Maybe they're planning for that.
Yeah, like Big 12 or something.
Yeah,
I could.
Well, I don't know why, but yeah.
Anyway,
they should go to the ACC actually.
Anyway,
that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Anyways, then you have 6, 7, 8 teams good in Tier 1 every single year of the Big East. You can have 6+ tournament teams every single year. The schools in the bottom of the Big East, like DePaul, I guess is a fair example for the most part. But DePaul and even like Xavier and Butler and Marquette and like the ones that know they might be near the bottom every now and then will never go for it because they don't want to get relegated in basketball. But it also might be the best thing for them, and it's a kick in the ass a little bit. And I think it's a rising tide lifts all boats.
It would be fun. I'd be just like, it would never work.
So are you in or out?
I'm out.
Why? Because of logistics?
Yeah.
Bar. That was good. But you don't like fun then?
Sometimes. I like fun in the right situations, Ryan.
It's
a great idea.
Let's go on to a conference that has figured it out this year, the ACC.
Fun. Oh, dude, yeah, they look great. It looks great.
Let's start with the game first, Duke Carolina.
I mean, by the way,
I want to get your takes on it first.
The fact that we didn't start the episode with the biggest rivalry in maybe I'm not going to say all of college sports. I do think Michigan-Ohio State football is bigger.
No way.
I stand by that comment.
I pass.
But Duke Carolina is a top 5 rivalry in all of sports, pro or college.
I haven't seen Duke Carolina like this in so long.
Incredible.
This is like one of the ones that like 20 years from now, I'm gonna be telling like your Beckham, my nephew, your son. I'm gonna be like Beckham, like, dude, you don't even know. Let me tell you something. Ready? Seth Trimble or Derek Dixon drives, Caleb Wilson for lob. Nope, Seth Trimble in the corner. Bang!
We were walking into dinner with a bunch of people, and me and another guy stopped at the bar as we were sitting there. Like, we'll be right there. We'll be right there. It was awesome. Like again, this is the game that welcomes everybody back to college basketball at the perfect time.
I think that what the college basketball should do, they have all these rivalries within conference play. They should force the Saturday before Super Bowl Sunday to be conference rivalry weekend,
because it kind of like transcends the sport into perfect timing. If today was not Super Bowl Sunday, it would be the national story today.
But everyone's talking about Sam Darnold and Drake May. So
sure. Oh, I have a question. Drake May playing in a Super Bowl today.
He watched last night.
Do you think he watched the game last night?
So Cole Adams, shout out Cole, said on Twitter, real question, is he watching or is he staying locked in? And I told him, I was like...
I saw the question.
I told him, I said, I think he's watching, and that is being locked in. How about that?
Maybe.
I think he watched last night.
Maybe.
We're only going to find out if they win tonight, the Patriots.
Because no one's going to ask him otherwise.
Yeah. You lost. Were you spending time watching basketball?
Hey, did you lose because you watched the Carolina-Duke game last night? Yeah, like it.
Nonetheless, this is the best rivalry in the sport.
Yes.
Growing up, you watch Duke Carolina, and those are the moments that get you into college basketball. This is one of those moments. There are children out there that are 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. They watch that game, and they're like, man, like this sport rocks. I'm going to start watching this more, and they're going to fall in love with the sport forever. That was one of those unbelievable games. The game itself, it was honestly felt similar to the St. John's UConn game a little bit. I think Duke had more of a handle on this game than UConn did on that game. But Duke was the better team for 90% of the game. 100%. I think they are a better team on paper. I still think that. They had a better game plan. They were well matched up. They executed their game plan much better than Carolina executed theirs, especially early on. But Caleb Wilson, he wants to be this Carolina legend, this superstar as a freshman. He talks a lot. He does the phone backgrounds with the rankings. Don't have him one. It can get a little corny at times, but he wants every ounce of being a UNC legend, and he absolutely is. Without him putting up near 20 in that first half, they would have lost by 30.
Yeah.
If he had like a modest first half.
He's the only reason the game was close at halftime.
He kept them alive. And then at halftime.
And by the way, it wasn't that close at halftime.
It wasn't.
12-point game.
Yeah.
I know.
At halftime, I remember on Twitter, I was like, there's two things you got to look out for. It's Duke's foul trouble because Cam had 2 at half, Pat Ngongba had 3 at half, and someone else had 2 fouls. And it's Henry Vasar who had 0 points in the first half, and he looked like a traffic cone. He looked like he wasn't up to that moment. The second half, they come out. Pat Ngongba fouls out within a few minutes. He goes over the back for his 5th foul. It was easy foul, whatever, get out. Henry Vasar was great. Pat Ngongba not playing was a huge part of that.
Yeah.
But Henry Vasar was great the second half. He wasn't worried. I wasn't shaking in his boots at all. Derek Dixon obviously turned up in the second half, especially at the end. And Seth Trimble made a lot of good dirty plays, dirty work type of hustle plays, including the last shot, obviously, to win the game. But like I said, it felt like UConn St. John's also. The underdog home team in the rivalry fed into the crowd. They fed into the energy and the vibe and everything. I don't think it was really a lot of Hubert Davis adjustments at halftime in the game plan. I think it was just Carolina's like, no, guys, Caleb's keeping us in this game. We have to help him.
I agree
with
that, but
attack.
you also refuse to give him any credit.
Hubert Davis?
They did a good job at halftime.
I'm just being honest. What did they change that you thought was drastic?
The game plan was relatively similar, but they got more guys involved. You're right. Ngongba being out changes the way they could use the bigs or play down low with Vasar. But you can't sit here and give him no credit.
I'm not giving no credit.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Well, I think in the locker room it was more of like a vibe check. Like,
Yeah.
guys, you want this or not?
Right.
You want
Yeah.
this or not? And I think that's Hubert Davis's bet.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
good
that's
at
what he
that.
did with the
Yeah,
Final Four run, where
I
he's like,
agree.
guys, you guys want this or not? And Caleb Love said, yeah, I want it.
Yeah.
For the record. But
Yeah.
no,
I know.
by the way, the foul thing, Duke fans are. They're saying the refs blew the game for them. I want to get your take on it before I give mine.
Oh, come on.
There
man.
was
We're gonna do this right
apparently it was like, I don't know if this stat was real. Someone said about the only time in like 100,000 games that there has been one foul called in the second half on a team. There was one foul called on Carolina.
So that's crazy in a vacuum. I'm gonna look at the camera. Hello, Duke fans. It's Adam. You think you're gonna complain about the refs and other people are gonna listen to you?
That's what everyone's saying. What if it was rules reversed?
It wasn't rules reversed.
I'm saying if Duke had got one foul called against them, the world would be in uproar.
Oh, it's Duke again. Duke with the refs. Piss off.
I under like 100%. There had to be more than one moment where there was a worthy foul call on Carolina. Obviously, not like I'm not saying that that's not the truth, but that's every game. I didn't think watching the game that the refs were that bad at all.
There were only 20 foul shots all game. It wasn't some egregious. It wasn't
exactly.
Like honestly, the UConn St. John's game was way more
or the
egregious.
Wisconsin Indiana game.
Yes,
like
that was crazy.
Yeah,
like they let the guys play a lot of the night. I agree that one foul on Carolina. Obviously, there was more than that. They didn't.
Yeah,
call.
and I also think that the refs did not win or lose that game for anybody.
No, absolutely not.
It was this. That's what I'm telling Duke fans. They're like, you have to acknowledge it. I'm like, yeah. What do you want me to do? You want me to call the refs and change? Like there were multiple times where Duke could have won that game. The fouls that they had against them. Small violin.
World's smallest violin.
The fouls they had against them, like they're like, oh, Patton Gong but fouled out. He deserved to foul out. He kept foul. Like, the over the back call was so stupid.
Yeah.
So I understand what Duke fans are saying. I do get it. If roles were reversed, I 100% agree. The world would be going crazy right now.
That's true.
But they weren't. But they're not. So guess what? March 7th, Duke, Carolina, Cameron Indoor. Go.
Yeah,
there you go.
You'll get some calls there. It'll be fine.
I do have some slight worry about Duke because they crumbled in this game.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they completely broke down.
So this was their issue last year with Duke. And focus on this year first. You have this Carolina game. They crumbled. Mm-hmm. You have the Texas Tech game at Madison Square Garden where like they really, really crumbled and blew that game.
One, right?
Yeah. What?
Were you at that one?
I wish. No. I was at the Houston, Arkansas, and then I couldn't make that one.
Yeah.
But last year in the Final Four, different team, similar roster build and makeup. Houston in the Final Four. And then the Kansas and Kentucky games earlier in the season in November. Though all 5 of those games, they lost because of inexperience and inability to execute down the stretch. I think that ties into their inexperience they had in their leaders last year with Con and Cooper Flagg, who were awesome, and it also leads to what they have this year in their team with Cam and a lot of younger guys also. John Shire, I still hate that he refuses to draw up like hard actions and sets like he does for 39 minutes in the last minute of the game because it happened last year where like you want to go ISO Cooper Flagg, I get that. He turns it over again, and then a missed shot. Okay, next game, we go Conca-Nipple. Doesn't work. ISO ball.
Yeah.
Final Four, Cooper Flagg, ISO ball. Doesn't work. This year, the Texas Tech game was a million issues, but this game, the Carolina game, Carolina comes out of a timeout with the tie game, 50 seconds left. They come out of timeout. They draw up nothing. Seth Trimble gets an ISO on Cam Boozer. That's not what you want.
Nope.
Doesn't work. Duke calls timeout. You have a full shot clock. Cam Boozer sits at half court.
I know.
And he just dribbles the clock out. I understand that Cam is so good at drawing fouls, so good at driving. He's driving on Henry Vazar, the biggest guy on the court.
He should have made the shot, by the way. It was
but they also had no action for
nothing.
A second read or anything. And I feel like that's so unlike John Shire for 95% of games. And that really frustrates me. So I think it's inexperience in the players, but I think it's a little bit of inexperience in Shire also. And I would have hoped that after last year's 3 crumbles, one of them being in the Final Four, that Duke would have looked at late game situations very differently, but they haven't changed that. Again, we said this last year. It's early in the season. It's not March yet. They'll figure it out. But I'm saying it again. And if there's and they should have won the national championship last year.
We're getting close to March.
They objectively should have won the national title last year, and they didn't because of this. So if that happens again this year, that's a real problem. That's a real problem. It's not like I'm not saying fired your coach.
No, he's a great coach. He's a great coach.
I'm just saying it's a massive issue with how they execute games. They can't do it.
I think it's fair. It's really interesting because how many times? What game were we watching the other day when me, you, and Eric were like, "Oh, it was the BYU game? Like, how doesn't the Banta get a touchdown the stretch?"
Oh, the Arizona game last week. Yeah.
So like, there's so many times you see you're like, "Why didn't their best player touch the ball? Why didn't their best player touch the ball?" This is the exact opposite situation. He was the only one who touched the ball, which in a vacuum, I think I keep saying that. Like, I think is fine.
I get it. You want your and I did love part of this game where Caleb and Cam,
just traded blows.
There were a lot of moments going at each other. Caleb, every time he saw Cam, he was like, "I'm going to get a bucket," even though he actually forced it too much.
So I think to that, like that's the coach is like, well, he's the best player on the court, so I'm going to let him go do his thing. But you're not like that's just not how he usually coaches.
I don't like it because Isaiah Evans is a great off-ball, off-screen action shooter. Like you have guys that can make plays like that. I don't know. I don't know. It just felt really uncomfortable watching the end of that for Duke, and I'm getting way too many flashbacks from last year. I still think Duke is a team that can win the national championship. I still think they're a top 4 or 5 team in the country. I'm not overly worried, but I'm worried about the Final Four, the title game, the Elite Eight, those late game situations. So I'm not trying to say that I'm like, Duke is shot. Like, I think people understand what I'm trying to get at, though.
I get it.
Let's talk ACC, though, while we're at it. It feels like the ACC is back in some way. I preemptively kind of rushed that on Twitter. I was kind of like looking at the standings, and I was like, oh, my God, is the ACC back? Like, some are saying, I am some. I am some. I just like the ACC has had in the last 4 years, 4, 5, 5, 5 teams get into the NCAA tournament. Right now, they are projected to have 9 teams in on Bracket Matrix, and they have 6 teams in the top 30 on KenPom.
Okay, fine.
What? I'm telling you what Bracket Matrix has.
I understand what Bracket Matrix has, but like
Bracket Matrix is a good site.
Ryan.
Okay.
I love Bracket Matrix.
Irrelevant if it's going to be 9 or 8 or 7. It's going to be more than
better.
5 and 4.
Right. The fact that Louisville's in 7th in the conference.
Yeah, and also
matters.
the race to win the conference I think is actually incredible.
Yeah.
Before we get into a couple of teams, who do you think is going to win the conference? Because right now, you think Duke?
I think Duke's going to win.
So Duke and Clemson are at 10-1 each. Clemson's going to Cameron Indoor this week.
Yep.
UVA and
by the way, the worst week to go to Cameron. Worst week to go to Cameron.
Yeah, it's not. And Clemson's been hot too.
I know.
UVA and NC State are 9-2, and then Carolina and Miami are 7-3. I guess they haven't played an extra game.
I said Duke without looking at the schedule. Let me look at the schedule. Okay, Duke. Just making sure.
How about the team that
I
said
they do finish up
tough?
Yeah, it's
the last
versus
3
UVA
games.
at NC State versus Carolina.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
That's the hardest.
And by the way,
they
just have Michigan a week before.
Yeah, I can't wait for that
just
game.
For fun.
That's not this week, right? It's like next weekend.
No, yeah. It's like, Duke is my pick because I think they're the best team, but they could lose some tiebreaker.
Let me show you the team that I said was a dark horse to win. Let me give you their schedule the rest of the way. You know who I'm talking about?
But they're 1 game back. Yeah.
Ready for the Virginia schedule the rest of the way?
I'm ready.
They have FSU, Georgia Tech, Miami at home, NC State at home, Duke away, and then Wake Forest, Virginia Tech.
The NC State 2 games are going to be the one that determine it. Duh.
Oh, really? Miami's solid also, but
by the way, shout out Jay Lucas.
Yeah, man. We didn't talk. I didn't bring him up last week when they remember the Q&A thing.
I thought about him.
Best first year coach, most impressive.
He's been really good.
I didn't even think about it. They've been good.
Yeah,
they've been much better than I expected.
He's been really good.
But Virginia, I think, has a really good schedule, and I still love Virginia. So while I'm on the topic of Virginia, I've talked about them a lot.
Yep.
Love the way they're built. Their guards have been firing on all cylinders. Sam Lewis has been awesome. The sniper from Toledo, he's been having some really big games. Jakari White is almost back to full health, it seems. Chance Mallory is getting better and better. The shot blockers are great. Tez DeRidder's a beast. Love the way Virginia plays. I'm still fully in on them. They've had a couple of games, like the BC game and Notre Dame, where like kind of shaky, but they get results. I think that's what matters in those types of situations for the most part. They are up to number 16 on KenPom. They're 20-3. Nobody's talking about them as a 20-win team right now. Nobody even cares about them, which I love.
And by the way, you want to know who else nobody's talking about it? 20 wins again? Clemson. No big deal. Ho-hum.
I don't know. Every year, Brad Brownell does it.
I
definitely have not talked about them.
No, we haven't
talked
about them as second on here.
And analytically, they're not insanely high ranked, but you're right. 20-4 is...
It's every year, Ryan.
Every single year. Brad Brownell, the Clemson teams, they're so good at being good, but they're never great. But they're also never bad.
Nope.
So, and I'm okay with that. It's like Clemson's not an easy place to build a really good basketball powerhouse at all.
I have been to a basketball game there.
Dead?
Yeah, it was at Oliver Purnell. They had the OPP, Oliver Purnell Posse.
How long ago was this?
I was in college. So
the home games are good now.
I would hope so. I would hope
this is like 15 years ago, right?
It was longer than that.
Oh, my. Come on.
It was longer than that.
I haven't given Clemson enough flowers. They're one of those teams that's very underwhelmingly good and solid. And like when they went to the Elite Eight, it was the same kind of thing. Like you just discount Clemson and you say, I'm taking New Mexico.
But that's what I mean. Like even like UVA, you've been on them. Other people have been on them. They're a little bit more sexy than Clemson. Clemson has gotten. I haven't heard anybody talk about Clemson.
Yeah, because their roster is not made of guys that are very super noteworthy.
No.
None of them put up blisteringly great
No,
statistical
their leading
productions,
scorer scores
so.
under 12 points a game.
Brad Brownell again, man. So they are gonna play Virginia Tech, Duke. Oof, that's a good week.
Their schedule is not kind.
Wake, Florida State, Louisville, Carolina. Oh God.
Yeah, that's.
But it could be kind, and if they win, if they play their best ball in the next 2 or 3 weeks, they are the biggest dark horse in the ACC to go further in the tournament because they are going to be, if they beat good teams, a Duke or a Louisville and Carolina,
or a 4-seed or something.
Yeah, and people are going to discredit them.
What are they in bracket matrix right now?
Let's guess where I look. I'm going to guess 5 or 6.
I feel like that's just always where they are.
They're 7.
Yeah, that's
it's because they're analytical rankings. All right, but here's the problem. You put them above St. John's, above St. Louis?
No.
You can't.
Yeah.
Louisville, maybe now. Arkansas is maybe more of a conversation.
Yes.
Carolina, no. BYU, maybe now. Nonetheless,
I know we're not talking about BYU today. I apologize to the 2 seed that gets them.
That's
a 7.
Right.
That's going to be terrible.
It's not fun. But let me read you out the 7 seeds right now. Say that BYU is a 7 seed and Clemson's not. Iowa, I'd rather play Iowa. Although,
shout out.
Ben McCullum and Bennett Sturts doesn't sound fun either.
But yes.
But they're going to be better than a 7 seed also.
Yeah, keep going.
Louisville, I'd rather play Louisville.
Sure would.
Auburn, I'd rather play Auburn.
I mean, BYU. Name who
Kentucky?
Who are the 6 seeds right now?
Well, Louisville, I dropped them down. St. John's, Arkansas, St. Louis.
I mean, BYU's terrifying.
Yeah, I just don't want to go having to play AJ DeBanza as a 2 seed in the second round.
Anyway, I think Duke's going to win the ACC, but all of a sudden, you look and here comes NC State, here's Clemson, here's UVA.
Dude, NC State's been hot too.
I know.
That's our boys.
I'm so happy for our guys.
Yeah, and Will Wade has talked a lot about making midseason adjustments in the style and the rotation especially. And I love that about him because he did that in the when they beat Clemson last year in the first round of the tournament with McNeese State. They constantly made adjustments in that game to basically just throw hell at them when they were on the defensive end and Clemson had the ball. And that's what Will Wade does a lot. He does very well with his staff. They adjust, they change things on the fly in the middle of games, in the middle of the season. They started to figure it out a little bit. I believe that they are on a 6-game win streak since the Clemson win in overtime on the road, which is a massive win for them. They beat Clemson, Pitt, Cuse, Wake Forest, SMU, Virginia Tech. No blisteringly amazing teams, but SMU is a good win. Clemson at Clemson is a great win on the road. Virginia Tech is a solid win. And in the last 6 games, I think I put it out on Twitter, they're shooting 42% from 3. Quadir Copeland is averaging 14 and 10 assists a game.
I'm glad you brought him up. He's been so good.
Amazing.
He's been their alpha.
When he had the 16 assist game, I was like, no way. He's fantastic. And Darian's playing a lot better.
And by the way, the reason we didn't bring them up in the conversation is their last 6 are against the best. It's Louisville, Miami, UNC, UVA, Notre Dame, Duke State. That is the problem with the schedule is they're probably not going to win the ACC.
No, they won't.
But if they go 4-2 in these last 6 against that team, they are going to all of a sudden be a really sexy pick to win a bunch of games in March.
So they're an 8 seed right now.
Yeah, no,
okay.
No, thank
Ready?
you.
UCF, Villanova, Texas A&M. I'd rather play those 3 in a heartbeat over NC State right now.
And you know that the Will Wade style and the NC State style now is tailor made for March.
High ball pressure. They're shooting the ball at blisteringly elite rates.
Yeah.
Paul McNeil, also, we didn't mention him. He's been playing great.
Yeah.
One of the best shooters in the country.
Before the season even started, when we were down there, they were like, that's the guy.
Yeah. And I knew about him a little bit. They were like, no, he might be our best player. Might lead us in scoring.
He's such a good shooter.
He's fantastic. He'll be an NBA player this year, I think. That's my hot take on him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Because he's big and he can shoot. Great.
Let's just say they're an 8-9 seed. They turn a 1 seed over a bunch of times.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? UConn was an 8 seed last year, and they played Florida very well in the second round. NC State will be similar to what UConn was last year, I think.
Yeah,
not in terms of style is actually not in style, but just in terms of strengths and what they can do upside wise in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play them. But if they win, they're playing a really tough schedule the rest of the way. If they win some of these games, they're going to be like a 7 seed or maybe a 6 seed if things go well.
Yeah. The ACC all of a sudden is fun. What a fun conference tournament that's going to be.
I love the ACC. I grew up.
You
obviously grew up Greensboro, I think, or Raleigh.
Is it Greensboro?
Greensboro. I think it's always Greensboro.
The old school ACC, it wasn't. God, it's the worst. I mean, when
they did it in Brooklyn a few years ago.
We kind of alluded to this, and everyone who listens knows. But when I went to Maryland, they were in the ACC. I remember camping out
Charlotte.
for Duke.
Sorry,
It's in Charlotte.
Charlotte.
It used to be in Greensboro every year.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, like I remember camping out for Duke and Carolina and rushing the floor against Ty Lawson and John Shire when he was playing. We had a Shire face game where we all held up his face because he made funny faces when he played. I think
he still does.
I think he appreciated that.
That's funny.
So yeah, like it kind of feels like a little swan song, not a swan song, that's because they're not going anywhere. And the teams that are really good in the ACC like are the teams that have been there. Like Louisville's and like the top of the ACC are all teams that have been in the ACC for a long time now.
Yeah, and
it's not the new teams.
Right, and think about like there's not many teams at the bottom that are going to be like high upside, but like Syracuse is a good example.
But like Pitt, Notre Dame, new, Syracuse new, Stanford new, they're all at the bottom.
Yeah. But yeah, and my point about Syracuse though is that like if say all these programs, Andy Enfield's got SMU pretty solid over a couple of years now. If they can keep these 8 or 9 solid teams and then Syracuse can, God bless, if Syracuse can actually find a coach who can coach their team and build their program well, which by the way, Kai and Anthony 0 minutes the other day. Did you see that? Just want to shout that out.
I know a coach who would play him more.
Carmelo Anthony.
Yes, that's the one.
Carmelo was pissed.
I mean, I
Shocker.
don't really blame him.
I mean, they're just not good.
Anyways,
if Syracuse can figure out their program, I still think the bottom of the ACC is never going to be good until they get the quote. I don't want to say the trash out.
John Shire, Browd Brunell, Ryan Odom, Will Wade, Hubert Davis in Carolina, Jay Lucas, Pat Kelsey. I mean, look at those coaches.
Yeah, a lot of good coaches. And guess what? Who was it?
Mark Madsen.
That's your guy.
That's my guy.
We talked about this. By the way, they're projected to be in the tournament right now.
I know they are. I'm so happy.
They won't be, but we talked about this. Someone on Twitter was like, oh, talking about certain programs that have hired and done well and certain ones that haven't. He's like, well, that's crazy. If you hire good coaches, your program becomes good. So the ACC has done that very well where some other conferences haven't.
Sure.
Fair to say.
I agree.
Like the Big East.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
How about some Big Ten?
Okay.
Let's talk Michigan State.
Oh, okay.
They never want me to talk. They don't say I don't talk enough and Jeremy Fears and whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
First off, let's talk about Jeremy Fears first.
What's that guy's problem? I
don't know, honestly.
Because look, they had a loss and a big win this week. After the loss, Izzo called them out too.
So let's take it back real fast. Michigan game at Michigan, they lost, but in that game, he makes a pass to the corner.
Yep.
He sweeps the Axel Edinburgh's feet out of him for no reason to try to not let him close out. That was not okay.
No,
that was one time. Minnesota game, he had 4 different occurrences of 2 kicks, 1 kick in the nuts, and then the other one was an elbow in the face. And they're not even like giving him competitive advantages. No. And then in the Illinois game, which by the way, he was amazing in this game.
He's a really good basketball player.
This is the problem. This is my thing with Jeremy Fears. It's like Grayson Allen.
He is Grayson
because
Allen,
he's way too good to be doing this.
Yeah, he's way too good.
You don't need this, and the refs are going to be watching you. Everyone has a stigma against you.
He tried to trip her. Who was it?
Yeah, and it's in like trailing the play.
Yeah, no, he dead stopped though. He jump stopped.
There's no reason to do this. Like it makes no sense, and I don't know how coaches on their staff aren't literally showing him, be like, dude, stop doing this, or we're not gonna you can't play. It's that simple because it's becoming dangerous, not just for like safety for the players. It's you might get teed up and then that's 2 points the other way, and the
teed
ball
up to get kicked out of a game.
But that's my point is that the more he does this, and he might get suspended at some point if he keeps doing this.
I know.
Maybe we're overreacting a little bit on the suspension, whatever. I just like he is way too good of a player to be doing this. The Illinois game, I want to see his full box score. He ended up with 26 points, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. He had 26 points and 15 assists.
That's crazy.
He was and 2 turnovers.
And
he was fantastic. Yes, he was fantastic. He won them the game. Analytically, he's fantastic. He is everything for them.
Yeah.
He is too good to be doing this. It's that simple. That's my thing with the Jeremy Fears situation where people are like, you're not talking about his game last night.
Shout out Kurt Tang, by the way.
Big shot.
Yeah, he had a big shot.
And what about Jake Davis? Big free throws.
Those were huge.
Love Jake Davis.
I thought he was going to miss one. Those were awesome.
That was a great game.
It was a really
Too many fouls, though. Yeah, this is part of the issue we're talking about.
Big Ten reffing, too. But like, it'll be really interesting because Izzo called him out after the Michigan game. He's like, I don't know what that guy's deal is, basically. It'll be interesting because
the Minnesota game. Michigan game, he said, he plays hard.
Sorry, Minnesota game.
Yeah.
He's their best player. They go as he goes. Izzo is historically like a stickler on this sort of thing.
No bullshit, yeah.
So I'm very curious what we see moving forward from Jeremy Fears. Because he's going to get kicked out of a game in March.
I don't think it's going to change.
Yeah, well, that's a problem then.
I'm not saying he's going to trip people every game. I'm just saying.
Well, he's done it in the last 3.
And it seems like it's very instinctual to him, where it happens in a flash. I used to do that in soccer sometimes, and then I stopped doing it.
Yeah,
because I got red cards.
Yeah, well, he hasn't gotten a red card yet.
Not yet, exactly. Well, he has. They go to a video review monitor and he gets teed up. Although Michigan State fans are like, they looked at it in the Illinois game. They said it was incidental.
They were wrong.
Sure.
They were wrong.
They're gonna, but Michigan State is a team, huge win for them over Illinois at home.
Gigantic, yeah.
I again, just like them losing to Minnesota and losing to Michigan and then beating Illinois, two sides of the spectrum. I feel no different at Michigan State. And Michigan State fans think this is bad. It's good and bad. I didn't think any less than them when they lost to Minnesota. I'm like, well, shit happens. They played terribly offensively down the stretch. That happens to them. They get cold. Illinois game, they were great. They took care of business. They were gritty. They worked hard. They played very well in the front court. Jeremy Fears is awesome. They were awesome. They have such a great floor of being an elite team and being a great team. It's just the offensive ceiling that Michigan State fans think I hate them. I don't know why. We have to do this. I do this every week. Every week I have to do this.
Even on last week's segment, which was literally about this, there were still comments like, even when you compliment them, you backhand compliment them.
What was my backhand last week?
Because you still call their offense bad.
It's not good.
I'm just telling you.
Not my problem.
I'm just telling you what the people are saying. You already know.
Although they did, again, they played well in this game. They shot.
Yeah, but Illinois also.
Oh, no, they didn't.
I'll play the you part for a second here.
Sure.
Illinois forced that because that's the speed that they play at, and that's the game that they play.
Yeah, fair.
So,
well, though they shot like 29% from three, Michigan State in this game.
I mean,
not having Devon Ugochukwu is a big problem. That's the issue for me.
Yeah, well, I'm playing there is just a pain. So,
yeah, they're gonna play Wisconsin away, UCLA and Ohio State home, Purdue away, Indiana away, Rutgers, and then Michigan. That's a tough.
That is not easy.
We'll see how they go. Anyways, Jeremy Fears, great game.
Yeah,
I want to say that. Last game we want to talk about UMass, Coastal Carolina.
Hell yeah.
We just want to bring it up. Shout out to those two teams for playing a ridiculous game.
Some of the craziest buzzer beater and the triple overtime heave almost went in too.
They had three buzzer beaters, almost had a fourth one full court in triple overtime winner at Coastal, the UMass Sunbelt Cross.
Yeah. Let's talk about the court.
I hate it.
It's terrible.
The Coastal court is terrible.
They have their football field is the same color.
The Chanticleers.
Yeah.
Well, the football field is cool though.
I know. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but turf and grass is green. This is like a shade of green.
Shout out Frank Martin in UMass. Shout out Coastal Carolina.
Forgot about him. Shout out to Coastal Carolina. UMass Sunbelt. Interesting mid-season thing. We're gonna get to mid-season cross-conference games soon. You mentioned Duke, Michigan.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very exciting. All right, let's go on to some segments. Okay.
Yep.
Let's start with Panic Meter.
Okay.
Panic Meter. Ah. Okay. Are you panicking on these teams? And some of them aren't teams. First one is Gonzaga. They lost at Portland this week, who is not one of the better teams in the WCC. They lost 87-80, and they let the boy Joel Foxwell have a generational performance, 30-piece. Which, by the way, I don't know if you heard about the Foxwell family. There's a bunch of ties. He's one of them dudes. We love him.
Okay.
Okay.
Call me crazy. Yeah, I'm worried.
What's your number?
It was one of the worst losses you could possibly have. I'm at a 6. You cannot lose games like that. You cannot lose games.
The way
like
you're talking seems like a 9, but then you said 6.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, I guess so.
Look. They are still Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They are. I know we're going to talk about Santa Clara in a minute, but they will probably win the conference. They will probably win the conference tournament.
They're not in first. Santa Clara's in first. Yeah.
Because they played another game. So I'm not like. I still think they can make the Final Four, but you simply cannot. Because if you can lose a game like this, they can literally lose to any NCAA tournament team.
I don't think the same as you, because this is a good Miami, Ohio reference also, because this just proves no matter what level you're at, how hard it is to be undefeated in a season and win no matter what. You have off days, shit happens. This is a terrible loss. I'm not trying to discredit the loss and say, whatever. I'm just saying that when you play in the WCC so many times, it's very rare they go undefeated in a full season like this in the WCC. Even if they're much better than everybody, which they are in the conference, I truly believe that still. I think, sure, I'm at a 3.5 because they're not going to the national championship. My confidence is losing. I'm losing that because of games like this, sure. But it doesn't mean they can't be an Elite 8 Final Four team, I think, still. I don't think very differently of them, because I genuinely think it was one of those games they looked past. They saw it on the schedule. They said, we're going to Portland. Let's go take care of business. And then we'll go to Santa Clara next week.
Well.
So, I don't know. We differ. We'll see what happens.
It's a weird one.
How about Duke after their loss to Carolina and crumbling?
2? Not that concerned. I think you're a little more concerned than I am.
I'm at a 3. I'm not that concerned. I talked about it before. My worry is with the inexperience and
Yeah.
late game execution, like we had last year that lost them the Final Four national title in the Final Four. They're going to be fine. I would have no problem picking them to win the national championship. Although now I kind of do. No, I'd have no problem doing that in a bracket still. I think this loss doesn't really overly alarm me, but I was hoping to see some kind of late game execution, so I'll say 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at a 2. Again, one of the best coach teams, one of the best players in the country. See, the reason I'm worried about Gonzaga is all of a sudden I think they could lose in the first round or the second round. I don't feel like that about Duke.
If Gonzaga's a 3 seed, think they're going to lose to a 14? I understand Portland's the quality of that kind of team.
I'm just like we talked earlier about like the WAC teams in the country. Like, why not?
I guess you're right. But you're right.
Coming back to Duke for a second, it's not happening with them.
Okay. Fair. Well, yeah, they're not going to lose early like that for sure. All right, next one. BYU on a 4-game losing streak. Arizona, Kansas, OK State, and now Houston beat them last night at home. Which, by the way, I forgot. I got a shout out on ESPN.
Yeah, you did.
During that game.
From John.
Forgot to bring that up.
John Shambi.
John Shambi. We know how to pronounce his name
John.
now.
And Fran.
Fran Frischel, my guy.
Oh, man.
They were talking about the clip I posted from the interview of Players Era with Emmanuel Sharp.
Yep.
Emmanuel Sharp had a great end of the game, had a great game in general. And they were talking about how Emmanuel was talking about how he does a bunch of shuttle runs, and it's never undeserved running, which all love. Where I can't talk about Houston and Kelvin Sampson enough, but it was really cool to see that, by the way.
I just want to really quickly. I've met a lot of people through you, which is very cool, so thank you.
His friend
all of our travels. He's been my favorite person that I met in person.
Really?
He's just like such a sweet man.
He's your first one.
He surprised me the most.
I was going to say something stupid. I'm not going to say it on
He surprised
camera.
me the most.
I was going to bring up someone on camera that I'm not going to say.
Let's not do that. He surprised me the most. Shout out Frank.
Oh, you thought he'd be like kind of like a media or whatever? Or?
I just wasn't sure. I know
he's a Jersey, New York guy.
I know he is.
My dog.
I know he is. He's us.
His family lives around here. Actually,
Yeah.
I found out.
That's,
I talked to him.
BYU.
Sorry, BYU.
Yeah, damn, this one stinks because like,
I was just there. Did I do this to them?
They were a Final Four pick for me. I'm at an 8 on BYU. I am extremely concerned. We talked earlier about like, they're a really dangerous 7 seed. They could lose to a 10 seed too.
Oh, I mean, 7-10 is an even game.
Like, shout out Pokes.
Pokes beat their ass.
Wearing the swag today. Like, the holes they're digging themselves in the first half are beyond alarming at this point.
Yeah, I love how they have resiliency and they can face adversity, but they haven't won any of those games except for the Clemson game when Rob Wright saved their life on a heave.
Yeah.
So like, I'll say 7 because I just like a week ago. This week didn't change my opinion that much. Actually, the Oklahoma State loss was pretty alarming. Giving up 100 to Oklahoma State. My problem is that they have a team built around. It's very heliocentric, built around 3 guys that are awesome, but they have off games. Then you want to rely on your role players like Moo Davis and Kebakeda and etc.
Yeah.
You can't just say we're gonna play through our 3 guys, but if they're not playing well, then we need our role players because that's not what they're built for. You build that team like that.
So somebody else put this on Twitter too. I don't know who it was. I saw it too about like. I don't want to. He kind of blasted the
Kevin Young.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah.
He kind of blasted the depth guys after, and someone's like, "That's the team you recruited. You're not supposed to put a lot on them."
Exactly. I don't know who said it.
Yeah, I forget who it was.
I have to go.
I'm sorry to whoever.
I'm gonna go
put
retweet
it on Twitter.
instantly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find it.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I feel about them, and it kind of just is how they're built. And I still think that they, like we said before, they could be a very dangerous 7 seed, 6 seed, 8 seed, whatever. And I wouldn't want to play them, but they have that seed for a reason.
Right. If they're playing a 10 or 11, they go down 20 in the first half, which they very well can, and the game's over.
It's not over with them.
I know, but it could be. but it could be.
Yeah, it definitely could be. All right, let's go. How about the Big East as a conference? They have 3 teams projected to be in the tournament, and it doesn't look like they're going to get any more than that.
Am I talking about this year? Like panic meter, Big East this year?
Sure, this year.
I still think there's a very realistic chance they have a Final Four team, so I'll say 5.
Yeah, but that doesn't there's 11 teams in the conference. Having one Final Four team.
Well, 2 months.
It would have to be UConn.
2 months ago we thought maybe they had 2 tournament teams, and now they have 3.
Yeah, but I'm at a 7.5 because we also thought 2.5 months ago that there would be 6 tournament teams or 5 tournament teams at least.
It's a moving scale. I guess I'm at a 5 just because I think St. John's is playing better than they were, so their second team is now almost their first team.
Okay, fair.
And Villanova is very clearly like a team that could win a game or two in the tournament.
They have 3 good teams.
But that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why it's a problem.
Okay.
All right, last one on the panic meter. The NCAA being able to enforce its own rules. Genuinely, where are you at of the panic meter?
A 10. They can't do anything. They can't get anything right.
Well, this might age like milk. We have the Chuck Bediako thing is, I think, a massive precedent for them because this is the first time that they've been publicly talking out against no, like they need to do what's right. We're the NCAA. These are our rules. Yeah. Usually they're just being like, we have our rules. If the judges don't abide by it, whatever. But this is the first time they're like really acting.
My answer is 10 ? Depending on how the Bediako thing goes.
Okay, so as of right this second, I'll say 8. But if Bediako gets to play, it's an 11.
Yeah,
it's an 11
it's
for sure.
It's
so we'll see about that. That's the panic meter. Now let's get excited. Woo! Excitement scale. You ready? Woo! St. John's on, I think, a 9-game win streak. Is that right?
Yeah, baby. 9 games, you said? I'm a 9 on St. John's.
Is it a 9-game win streak?
Yeah, it's a 9-game winning streak, right?
And they just
10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, sorry.
9-game win streak, and they just won at the Garden versus UConn in a great comeback.
I'm at a 9. After Players era, and then the Kentucky game, and they lost to Providence. It was like, are they gonna be like a double-digit seed? What's going on here? Yeah. Playing the best basketball of the year. They are tied for first, or they actually might even be a game up technically because of the games played in the Big East. Best basketball of the season. They look very similar to the St. John's team that was a 2 seed last year, stylistically.
I'm at a 9.5 because I don't think that they're a national title team, or I don't like their style for a Final Four run, but with how they want to play and how they want to win, they're doing it better than they did the first half of the year because, like you said, first half of the year was bad. So I'm at a 9.5 because this is what they want to be. So I'm excited for them to be where they want to be at the best time of the year. So 9.5. Let's stay in the Big East. Villanova, 9-3 in conference on a 3-game win streak. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament this year. They look good. I'll give them a 5. I'll give them a 6.
Oh, me too.
Oh, 6.1.
No, boo.
Because I like them. I like the way they play. I love the guards. Love Duke Brennan. I have been underrating them for sure and not talking about them enough. They're going to be in the tournament, safely in the tournament, and they can win a game, maybe a 2 if they're dangerous.
Safely in the tournament. Guards win in March. I think they have a chance to do that. I will save all my other commentary on them.
Interesting. Why is that?
I just don't really feel like talking about it.
Okay, Kevin Willard. Let's go to the heels of North Carolina. How about a Tar?
Heels.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you did that.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's Tar Heel. Tar Heel.
Zzz.
No, but when they do the chant.
Okay, heel.
Yeah, whatever. 5-game win streak, and they just beat Duke in a crazy instant classic.
I mean, I guess 8. It can't be lower than that.
It can be. I'm going to give it a 7.
Oh, boo!
I'm very excited for them. This is a huge win.
Obviously.
This is awesome. Duke crumbled in this game. Actually, you know what? You're right. I'll give it 8.5.
Let's go. Whoa, you had a whole point and a half.
Whole point and a half. Because the grit and the dirty work is what I was worried that Carolina wouldn't be able to do and be resilient in these comebacks, but they've done it twice now. They did it versus Virginia, and they did it in this game also.
I love when Evan does the graphic and then he moves the face because you jump from one number to the other. That's what's happening here.
That's a good point. What was your number for them?
I was an 8.
You were an 8. I said 8.5. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we stay in state? We go to Raleigh. NC State on a 6-game win streak. NC State is on, playing their best ball of the year.
I'm just so happy for them.
What's your genuine excitement? Unbiased, impartial.
A 7. I still am a little wary about top-end offensive games. I think if they get into shootouts, they may have a hard time. Defending. That's kind of where they're falling apart this year. Ironically, is on the defensive side in those types of games. So I would say I'm at a 7. They are going to be squarely in the tournament. They're going to get a good seed. But top end, I just worry about what happens past that. I'm
at a 5.5 because there are 6 games they've won in a row.
Yeah.
The only good team they've beaten is Clemson. You could argue SMU, Virginia Tech's not a tournament team right now. So I want to see them beat good teams. And they haven't really done that yet. But they're playing their best ball of the year at the best time of the year. So I am excited to see what it's going to be. It's a 5.5 now. In a week, they play Louisville and Miami. I might be at a 9 if they win both those games and look good. So who knows? Let's do 2 more real fast because we have some good mid-majors to put in here. Let me find them. Here we are. Santa Clara, who is number one in the WCC right now over Gonzaga. They're 12-1 in conference, and they're going to play Gonzaga this week. Santa Clara is right exactly square on the bubble right now, and no one's talking about them.
I think everything that you just said, it's a 10. Santa Clara, before the season, was minimally talked about at best, and you were talking about them as an on-the-bubble team before they even get to the conference tournament. It is a 10. Herb Sendek rocks.
You want to know something? They lost to Loyola Chicago.
Which is
Should they be kicked out of the tournament no matter what because of that?
Yeah, maybe.
They also lost. They beat Xavier, McNeese. They beat Nevada. They beat Minnesota. They beat North Texas. They lost to New Mexico, ASU, Loyola, and St. Louis. They played a really good schedule.
It's a 10.
They played a really good schedule. All right, let's get on schedule and Q&A. Let's get out of here.
Great.
Okay, schedule. I'll start. By the way, this is your homework for the week. Like I said last week, I've been trying to dial it back a little bit and be more realistic as a professor and teacher that I am, because I want to give you the games that matter. I want to give you the games that are very important to watch coming into March Madness, because the NCAA tournament coming around. I don't want to just be like, here are 2 power conference teams. Go watch this game. That's not fun. So I was a little more, what's the word? Selective?
Yeah.
Intentional.
Intentional.
I was much more intentional this week with your homework assignments.
Lenient.
Here's the main schedule. NC State, Louisville, Arizona, Kansas, and Belmont, Bradley in the MVC, all on Monday night. Belmont, Bradley, the MVC has been great. Belmont, right behind you, they have been the best team in the MVC. They beat Murray State, who I love also. The MVC is great this year. These are 2 of maybe the best teams in the conference. Definitely should watch that game on Monday night. Purdue, Nebraska on Tuesday night, along with North Carolina, Miami, Vandy, Auburn, BYU, Baylor, and Wisconsin versus Illinois. And then you have Florida versus Georgia on Wednesday. Friday, I would watch Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Ohio versus Miami. Ohio University versus Miami University of Ohio on national television on ESPN on Friday night.
Let's go.
Can we get a round of applause for that? Shout out ESPN. That's how you do it right there.
And our guys, UT Martin, were on ESPNU the other night, too.
They lost.
I know.
That was sad. But that was fun to watch them on ESPN.
It was.
Okay, Saturday, weekend slate. Texas Tech, Arizona. Oh, my God. Clemson at Duke is great. UCLA, Michigan. Kansas, Iowa State. I'll be at that game. Texas A&M, Vandy. Kentucky, Florida. Purdue, Iowa. Yale, Harvard. 2 best teams in the Ivy League. I love both those squads. Watch that game also. UVA, Ohio State. A little ACC Big Ten random game you got. Auburn, Arkansas, and then Gonzaga, Santa Clara. Gonzaga at Santa Clara might be, like those mid-major games that I mentioned, Gonzaga, Santa Clara, Yale, Harvard, and Belmont, Bradley, are 3 of the more important games for the real March ball and lowers to watch.
I love that you put that on there because it makes my sicko schedule slightly more like Yale, Harvard, I had pinned.
I love that game.
Sicko schedule's a great game.
The problem is I also am a sicko.
I know. No, I know you are.
Did you notice, by the way, I put the mid-major jerseys behind you?
I have until you said 2 seconds ago that the Belmont
So you have Belmont and ETSU.
I had no
I
idea.
have Arkansas and Iowa State.
I had no idea.
I thought it'd be a little like, I got the power teams. I do the main slate.
I
You
had
do
no
the you're a sicko.
I had no idea.
So
speaking of sicko, speaking of the Seahawks, since it is Super Bowl Sunday, UNC Wilmington at Charleston.
I picked my shirt up to show this off, but my tummy came out.
Oh boy, get that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Blur it. Monday night, UNC Wilmington at Charlotte.
Charleston.
Oh. Monday night, UNC Wilmington at Charleston. Wednesday, USF at Wichita State. Big mess on the top of the American Conference.
I like Wichita a lot.
Yep. Troy at Texas State. Thursday night, Marist at Merrimack.
Wow.
Joe Gallo, Ryan, not saying he's the next Rutgers coach. Not saying he's the next Rutgers coach. Just throwing that out there.
I will refrain.
And UC Davis at UC San Diego. Friday night, UMass at Akron. Saturday's a really fun one. I could have listed out like 8 games for this. North Dakota State at North Dakota.
I don't care if they're good or not.
Yeah.
I want to watch
North Dakota State atop the Summit League.
They're good, yeah.
Navy at Colgate. I talked about Navy on the first episode of this podcast.
How have they been doing?
They're in first place by 2 games.
Don't know. Wow.
And Austin Benini, who we also
That's
talked
your
about,
guy.
is averaging like 20 points a game.
Yo. So if they play UT Martin in the play-in game in
Yeah.
the 16s, who are you going to root for?
I don't know. Speaking of which, UT Martin at Suey. Actually a very important game in the conference.
Very, very important, yeah.
Cal Baptist at Utah Tech in the WAC, now that Utah Valley is not eligible for anything. And then we ended off with a doozy on Sunday, Belmont at Murray State.
Dude, I love Murray State. Belmont, we didn't, honestly, we should have talked about them more, but it's too late. Belmont's a wagon.
Yeah.
They have been unbelievable. Very big friends of the program.
Your guy.
Casey Alexander was on the podcast with me. He's awesome. they've been playing very well. I still love the way Murray State plays. That's going to be a great game on Sunday.
Okay.
Love that. A lot of
Ryan,
NBC ball.
I got 2 Q&As for you today. One of them is from Camden Wyatt on Instagram. One of the teams, by the way, that I also thinks you don't talk about them a lot. Do you think Tennessee has the ability to make a Final Four run?
No.
Okay, elaborate.
I just answered the question. No. They've never made a Final Four.
True.
If in a blanket, like generally speaking, if Dalton Connect can't get them to a Final Four, then Jacoby Gillespie and Nate Amen are not getting them there either, in my opinion. Even though Nate Amen has been unbelievable the last few games.
Yeah. Okay, that's simple for you.
But they're also their offensive upside is nowhere near where it has been in the last couple of years with the Chaz Lanier team and more physicality, and the Dalton Connect team with more physicality. Their system just isn't good enough to win 4 games in a row as the teams get better in March, in my opinion. So no.
Okay. Last question from Gabe Owens on Twitter. I figured we'd end with a really fun one today. Yep. Do we have any Kemba candidates for this year's tournament, meaning anybody who can recreate that 2011 Kemba Walker run?
So Walter Clayton comes to mind from last year. That's what we're going for, right?
They
could be any seeds, whatever.
Yep.
When you go through the top teams, there aren't like a lot of blisteringly amazing guards. Like I'm thinking about Michigan, Duke, Iowa State's got Taman, Arizona. But you say Kemba run and Walter Clayton, it's very, very much always an upperclassman.
Yep.
That being said, the freshmen have been next level outlier ridiculous. So Braden Burries came to mind because I still think Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley can do that together. I'd say if anything, like same thing with Keaton Wagler and Kyle Boswell. They balance that out. Maybe Braden Smith can have that kind of run a little bit. I'm not really positive. Christian Anderson is a guy who comes to mind on Texas Tech just because they won't win the national title. And that's but a Kemba run doesn't have to be a title winner, I guess, per se, right? Whatever.
It should, but that's up to you.
Christian Anderson can carry Texas Tech to the Final Four. Yeah. He won't be alone, but he can have like those crazy, crazy games. And if there's a freshman that's going to carry a team to a national championship,
let's say it on 3.
Kingston Flemings.
Oh, we didn't say it on 3.
1, 2, 3. Kingston Flemings. That is my absolute dog.
So obvious.
I love him so much in the best basketball way possible. He's an amazing player. He's an amazing kid. If there is a freshman who can do a Kemba Walker-like run, it's Kingston Flemings. And Houston is going to need it because their offense is good. Emmanuel Sharp is a beast. Christian Ack has been much better. They have pieces that can get buckets, but they go as far as Kingston Flemings goes in March. So, and I look at the rest of the teams, like national title contenders, I don't see a guard that can really do a Kemba or Walter Clayton-like run. I do think that there will be teams, like I mentioned Taman Lipsey before as a good example, and Braden Smith. Those teams, they might need a really big game or two out of a guy like that, but Kemba and Walter Clayton, like generational type of run. I was going to
say, what about Keaton Wagler?
He could, yeah. If that's true.
He was the other one that came to mind.
But again,
freshman thing, I know.
But again, him and Colin Boswell with KB back at some point will balance a little bit more, and same with Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley, I think. So, yes to Keaton Wagler, but I don't know, maybe Robbie Avila. Yes. That's my answer. Or Trey Green, he's a bucket, and Ishan Sharma,
or Jake Davis.
Jake Davis, the baller, man.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it this week. I hope we are celebrating a Seahawks Super Bowl.
Yeah, quick. What do you think?
I told you, Tyler Lockett MVP.
Okay.
That's all I know. I think the Seahawks win because I don't care that much.
Seahawks win. Not a lot of points tonight, I'm thinking. Close game.
Outdoor stadium, too. Interesting.
True.
What's the weather like?
Better than it is here.
It's brick cold here.
I'm freezing in this basement.
Well, the basement, we don't have insulation here. It's
I'm freezing.
Unfinished basement.
I'm freezing.
Let's
get out of here.
Appreciate you guys tapping as always. Like, follow everything. March is around us. And if this is your first episode and you're here toward the end because you're an NFL fan and you don't, whatever, welcome and stay around. Like, follow, subscribe, social media, podcast, leave a review, etc. And we'll see you next week.
Let's go.